Okay, we are now recording.
Okay.
So, if you could just spell your name and...
See, you got that down. It's Roberta MacGlashan, Roberta MAC, capital GLASHAN.
Thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
My pleasure.
So, can you tell me a little bit about the history of what you have done? From the beginning of when you were a councilwoman?
Sure. So it's been 20 years now since I first ran for office for the Citrus Heights City Council at the same time that the city and corporation was on the ballot. So it was successful. I finished second for 5 seats out of a field of 12, and so I was elected, and I served 2 terms on the Citrus Heights City Council, and at the end of that, the District 4 Supervisor seat was open, and I ran for that. I was elected, and I'm now concluding my 3rd term on the Board of Supervisors.
Wow, you've had a long history.
20 years. Seems like a good round number to me.
Out of that, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
Out of all of that, it was being on the original city council that formed the city of Citrus Heights and started the city, and it's now a very successful city in the region.
And what would you say has been, through all this, the biggest challenge for you?
The biggest challenge in the first place was getting that incorporation on the ballot, and then second was getting it up and running and being successful. And then on the Board of Supervisors, by far the biggest challenge, and something I really didn't sign up for, was the greatest recession since the Great Depression, and getting the county through that and coming back out the other side.
How did that change you? Did that...
It was, the county had never before had to, for example, lay off sheriff's deputies, and we made tremendous cuts. We have 3,000 fewer positions in county government than we did at the beginning of that process.
That's a lot of people.
It is.
And how did you manage that? How did that change you as a council person?
As a board, as a county supervisor, well, it was difficult for all 5 of us at the time, and tremendously difficult, because we were cutting positions that are vital to the safety of this county, but at the end of the day, unlike the federal government or even the state, we have to have a truly balanced budget. And so we were cutting positions in every department and every program.
Yeah. And now that the downturn is now changed, what before your time is up, what is the next thing you want to accomplish before you leave office?
Well, I would love to get new libraries for Rio Linda and Orangevale, but that isn't realistically going to happen in the next 10 months. But we at least want to make progress in that. Rio Linda now has a larger library and building at the old elementary school that's closed, and we're doing design work right now for the new Orangevale library, so at least we'll have moved it further along.
And for the people that are coming into office, what do you think that the skill set that they need to have to be successful?
Well, you can come from a lot of different backgrounds and be a good county supervisor. Being a planner, I think, was very helpful to me, but we have board members from all different professions, and I know the candidates for my seat come from all different professions. I think it's really good to have a small business background, which many of them do, and I do as well. So you've signed the front of a paycheck as well as the back, and it helps if you can multitask and be prepared, and in the case of District 4, that you don't mind driving quite a bit.
How big is District 4?
Geographically, it goes from Rancho Murrieta up along the county boundary to Folsom, Gold River, Orangevale, Citrus Heights, Antelope, and then Rio Linda and Alberta. So from one end to the other is quite a stretch.
Wow. So can you tell me what a day of being a supervisor is like?
Well, in addition to serving on the Board of Supervisors, or because of it, I'm on 22 other boards and commissions, and I checked yesterday, and 8 of those meet once or twice a month. So it's not just attending Board of Supervisors meetings, but all of those other meetings, and they all have agenda materials and require preparation. And then I meet with constituents. I conduct my own community meetings. I have a meeting in Antelope this evening. I belong to a Rotary Club. I am attending Chamber of Commerce events, and with my staff we cover a lot of events and we cover a lot of ground.
So would you say you have a 12-hour day?
You know, it just is, every day is different and it's never boring, and some are more than 12 hours, and there's a lot of reading on the weekends.
So now that you've decided to move on, what do you have plans for the future?
I haven't really decided what I'm going to do next, other than do some traveling and having a more flexible schedule.
Wow. So do you think you're going to be a person that's going to sit home and knit?
No. I used to knit, but I haven't done that in a long time. No, I'll be active with my Rotary Club and in the community. I always have been, so that will continue. I'll just be able to set my own schedule.
Yeah, because you would think that today your schedule now is kind of set for you.
It is. It's rather confining, and but I knew that when I signed up for it, and so we operate under that until the day we're not in office anymore.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's all the questions I have for this.
Okay.